Jeffrey Epstein and his Hollywood elite circle have been exposed as cannibals. Not rumours, not whispers. Hard evidence from the files. Babies in fridges. Jerky as code. Rituals that will make your blood run cold. An entire grotesque subculture of trafficking, consumption, and depravity on an industrial scale that has been blown wide open. And at the rotten heart of it for years, according to Epstein Files investigators, Ellen DeGeneres, the daytime TV queen who smiled into America's living rooms while allegedly orchestrating horrors in the shadows. They called it conspiracy, they called it rumour. But nightmares like this don't disappear, they get buried. And what's buried long enough starts to rot. Buckle up, we're going deep, and we're not pulling any punches. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community, support the channel, and gain access to exclusive and uncensored content. Back in 2016, I was the first person to dig deep into the leaked Podesta emails, and what they uncovered was explosive. Those emails were packed with code words, terms straight out of an FBI paedophile handbook, words like pizza and pasta, that pointed to something far darker than dinner plans. So, is it any surprise that Jeffrey Epstein's own emails from around the same time period were loaded with exactly the same suspicious terms? Pizza, pasta, again and again. Take a look at these emails sent to Epstein by Kanya Shuliak. But if anything, Epstein's emails contain a whole new level of code word horror. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has seen the unredacted files, describing 11-year-olds and permission to kill. She confirmed the use of code words in Epstein's emails, including jerky.
I looked directly at the emails that have been widely circulated pertaining to the age 11, and I have it written down on my notes, the permission to kill email, the Snow White, the littlest girl was naughty, etc. And some of them pertaining to, jerky, whatever that is. Yeah.
And so just quick follow. What is jerky? Like, what is that exactly?
I think that's the question. I don't know if it's like, and again, like going into specifically just based on what this is, I don't know.
It's a code word.
Context is
it has to be a code word. Nobody
it's
talks about jerky like this.
Weird. Yeah, it's a code word and it's weird.
We've been warning the world for over a decade now. Depraved members of the elite are cannibals, utterly obsessed with consuming child meat. We've been dismissed as tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists, even though everybody in Hollywood knows the truth. The evidence is undeniable, hiding right there in plain sight. We weren't wrong, we were early. Now, thanks to the Epstein files, the world is finally catching up.
Hope you are feeling better. Did we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week? I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Thank you so much. Super cool. Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. We'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Why would jerky walk around? Why would it do that? Delicious lunch, beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful above all for your friendship. Some of these emails are so wholesome, aren't they? It's too bad they eat kids. A small insulated bag would be fine. I don't remember checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge. Please get it. Also, Blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well. I suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in a downstairs freezer. Why would you freeze jerky? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt like it was more important for you to have the jerky to eat during my time off. My plan is to make a batch before I leave for LSJ, and some of that will go to Steve, and the rest will go to you at LSJ when I arrive. Little St. James Island. That's what LSJ must mean. So logically, that means that they were doing this off of the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Jeffrey Epstein is asking to bring him more jerky. I'm flying in on Friday. I will bring jerky. Is there a time I could come say hi and drop off the beef jerky? And that's from Jeffrey Epstein. Francis has time to come tomorrow. Show me how to make it. Jerky class anyone. He will bring you to taste his new jerky recipe from the restaurant. He sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called Guys, the restaurant's called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it, beef jerky and steak.
We've been sounding the alarm about this restaurant for years, warning everybody who would listen that something truly horrific is going on behind closed doors. And what happened? The usual suspects stepped in. Snopes, all the big fact checkers, they rushed to debunk our reporting. They flat out declared that the elite do not consume human flesh, and that no such restaurant even exists. How inconvenient for them that is listed right there in the Epstein files. For the record, confirmed restaurant guests include Chelsea and Hillary Clinton, Meryl Streep, Don Lemon, and Justin Trudeau's new partner, Katy Perry. And that was just the week we had an inside source providing details. Mexican model Gabriela Rico Jimenez wasn't crazy. She wasn't making it up. Back in 2009, this 21-year-old broke down in hysterics right outside a luxury hotel, screaming the unthinkable. She had just witnessed VIPs consuming human flesh.
¡Comieron humanos! ¡Asquerosidad! ¡Comieron humanos! Yo no estaba enterada de nada. Que había, o sea, de los asesinatos sí, pero que habían comido humanos. ¡Humanos!
The depravity of the elite truly knows no bounds. What we've seen exposed with Jeffrey Epstein and his inner circle, the trafficking, the abuse, the sheer evil, feels almost tame when you start peeling back the layers of what goes on in Hollywood. According to insiders, Ellen DeGeneres introduced Jeffrey Epstein and his island crew to the pleasures of human flesh. And in Los Angeles, Ellen is responsible for force-feeding hundreds if not thousands of unsuspecting friends, as well as members of the public, with human meat. We've got the details after this important word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is AffordableRxStore.com. The price of medicine in America has skyrocketed, and there are certain medicines Big Pharma don't want you to know about. That's why I've partnered with AffordableRxStore.com. Their FDA-approved medicines, including ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and fenbendazole, are high-quality generics, meaning customers can save a whopping 70% compared to their brand name counterparts. Speaking of fenbendazole, not only does it get rid of parasites that live inside your body, there have been studies that show fenbendazole can help with cancer. Listen to this testimony of Joe Tippins, a cancer survivor, thanks to fenbendazole.
2 years ago, Joe Tippins says he was told to go home, call hospice, and say his goodbyes. The doctors were unanimous. He was going to die of small cell lung cancer.
Once that kind of cancer goes that far afield, the odds of survival are less than 1%, and the median life expectancy is 3 months.
Tippins says he got a tip, not from a pharmacist, but a veterinarian. And in his desperation, he turned from people medicine to dog medicine. Specifically, fenbendazole.
My insurance company spent $1.2 million on me with traditional means before I switched to a $5 a week medicine that actually saved me.
Viewers of this channel are being offered 10% off their first order by using the coupon code TPV10 at the checkout. Please visit AffordableRxStore.com or click the link below this video to redeem this fantastic offer. Chrissy Teigen, a friend of Ellen DeGeneres who's been a frequent guest at Diddy and Obama parties for decades, has made it clear that she's open to eating human flesh. Here she is pleading her case for cannibalism.
If the person okayed it, I would eat a human. If you were at a very fancy restaurant and they were like a tiny piece of human meat.
No. I think the only way
you wouldn't try a tiny bite?
No.
Really?
Teigen didn't walk it back, she doubled down. She said that she's bored with normal food, and it's time for humanity to become more open-minded about the ingredients used in fine dining restaurants.
Would you really eat human?
I mean,
what body
in
part
like
would you eat?
haven't you been to that bodies exhibit down on
Yeah,
right? Have you been there?
I've been there.
I feel like we've eaten everything. Like everything has been eaten in fine dining. What's one thing that hasn't been served?
These attitudes run rampant in Hollywood, according to multiple insiders, who've come forward with horrifying revelations. They claim that babies are kept whole in refrigerators, stored cold and intact, just like an ordinary suburban family might keep whole chickens ready for the table.
When I knew Ellen, she was already a household name. She had a full staff, including a personal chef trained in Paris, the kind who turned lentils into sculpture. But when it came to certain meals, she didn't let him touch a thing. There was a separate kitchen on her property, stainless steel, private entrance, No security cameras inside. The chef handled the sauces, the garnishes, the staging, but she insisted on doing the hard part herself. Said it grounded her. Said it made the energy right. She wore a chef's hat like it was a crown. She believed consumption was transformation, that youth could be taken in, that vitality could be absorbed. She talked about ancient rites, about elites throughout history who understood what the masses didn't. It wasn't framed as cruelty. It was framed as tradition. The dumplings were her signature, folded carefully, almost lovingly, served at private dinners first. Studio heads, rising stars, political donors. She would watch as they ate, not hungrily, not nervously, but with that sociopathic calm, studying their faces. They complimented the seasoning, the texture. She would smile. And she wasn't an anomaly. That was the part that still keeps me up. There were whispers, other estates, other gatherings, special occasions, contracts signed over candlelight. Refrigeration units in basements stocked with whole babies marinating in special sauces. Jokes about saving something rare for a premiere or an award win. You heard enough and you stopped reacting. It wasn't about appetite. It was about power, and crossing a boundary so absolute that everyone at the table became complicit. Once you shared that secret, whatever you believed you'd consumed, you were bound to the group. No one betrays a circle that can destroy them. She even brought the dumplings to a few tapings of her show. Homemade, she said with that psychopathic grin. Audience members lined up for samples. Crew grabbed them between segments. I remember holding one, feeling the warmth in my palm, and realizing the real performance wasn't happening on camera. It was happening in plain sight. She didn't have friends, not real ones, just people she elevated, humiliated, tested. Feeding them was part of the game, a private torment disguised as generosity. This was all in the past. Houses get sold, staff get rotated out. Ellen was destroyed because everyone hated her. But the industry doesn't cleanse itself, it just rebrands.
When people hear whispers about elites crossing forbidden lines, they focus on the shock. But biology doesn't care about status. Kuru is real, a neurological disease linked to ritual cannibalism. Tremors, cognitive collapse, a slow visible decline that no PR team can spin. So for those at the top engaging in cannibalism, the fallout won't stay hidden forever. Symptoms don't sign NDAs. And when powerful figures suddenly retreat from public life, citing health issues, private recovery, or stepping back from the spotlight, it raises serious questions. Some taboos don't just cost you morally, they cost you physically.
This is one of the most disturbing videos found in the Epstein files. In the video, Epstein is filming himself very closely. You can see swelling in his mouth and strange, uncontrolled lip movements. At first, the video does not seem shocking. So why did it have such a big impact online? Some internet users connected it to a very rare and deadly disease linked to certain practices that cannot be named directly here. This disease is called Kuru, a brain disorder first discovered in the 20th century among people in Papua New Guinea. Kuru is not caused by a virus or bacteria. It is caused by prion, which are damaged proteins that slowly destroy the brain. It works in a similar way to mad cow disease. What looks strange in the video is not the mouth swelling, because Kuru does not cause visible swelling. The strange part is the uncontrolled mouth movements. In brain diseases, early signs can include loss of muscle control and speech problems.
Here's the real danger. If we're not careful, the Epstein files are going to become the Building 7 of our generation. Smoking gun evidence, buried by the government and the mainstream media, both determined to gaslight the public once again. This is why the elite are desperate to censor the masses and ban free speech. One of the global elite's most powerful weapons, a weapon few people realise is a weapon, is the VPN on your laptop or your phone right now. Industry leader Proton is funded and controlled by the World Economic Forum, and Israel has brought up the rest of the most popular VPNs in the world, including ExpressVPN, CyberGhost and private internet access. The truth movement, our movement, is at a critical crossroads right now. We're facing its gravest test yet as we speak. That's why we're revealing the first trustless VPN, VP.net, built so that even if it wanted to spy on you, it couldn't. Even if the feds came knocking, they'll walk away empty-handed. It's built inside a secure enclave, uses military-grade encryption and stores zero data. Yes, really, zero zilch nada. Sign up today at vp.net/TPV, and you can finally stop asking who's monitoring me, because the answer is they were, but with vp.net, not anymore.